What's going on, everybody? It's Dot Bets. We're checking back in. We got Azim Rakes with us tonight. We're going to go through all of week two, probably everything from all the way from Sunday to the Monday night game, and just go through each and every game, analyze it, and then we'll go any questions that you guys have, throw them in the chat, and then we'll do a little fun game at the end of Would You Rather. So we'll see what Azim would rather do. So without further ado, Azim, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm just trying to figure this whole system out. 1 second. I don't know why, but is it supposed to lag? It's lagging horribly on
it'll
my end.
it'll lag on your end.
Or like time
Yeah,
lag,
yeah,
just time lag.
yeah,
It's not like
it's a
that.
time lag for you. Yeah, if you're watching on there, you're gonna just mute it and just listen to me. You'll be all good.
Okay,
Yep,
cool. That's where we're
yep.
gonna go.
So yeah, how we feeling? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm actually looking forward to this week. Last week, I remember I complained to you about having too many
Yeah.
plays, and then it all worked out for me. I mean, I had a great week last week, and so this week I have a decent amount of plays again. I complained to you about earlier, so hopefully it goes the same way and it works out really well
Yeah,
for
man. I,
us.
I don't take many plays, and I shit you not, I played 21 spots in week one, and I even tweeted out. I said, "Don't
Okay.
overexpose yourself. It's week one," and I just was all over the place. Ended up being like 10 and 11 for minus 0.88 units or something like that. So it was pretty much break
Yeah.
even. So I'm dialing it back for week two. I'm going the sniper approach. But no, let talk about your approach. It's completely different than mine. Um, mine is more not even like feel or gut. It's looking at matchups, looking at injuries, looking at particular. I do some kind of trends here and there, but you especially are I would say the trend setter. You are the trend better of Twitter, and you have tons of them. So just explain your process real quick.
Yeah, so my process, first of all, whenever you're using trends, you have multiple ways to use trends. I mean, you can find those uh, short living trends where it's like, oh, this team did so and so in the past 10 games or something. And that's it's a way to bet. That's a way to, a lot of people that bet, they do use that trends in that regard. My thing is a little bit more of breaking down the sport in itself, looking at uh, public perception and then devising trends that kind of attack the public's perception. So, like, for example, even in hockey, which is such a niche market with hockey, a lot of the bets come in on the home teams because the people who go and bet on hockey are usually the fans that are going to watch the
Yep.
game. So, for something like hockey, my trends really center around away teams, and because that usually they're undervalued. Vegas gets so many bets towards the home team that they have to overvalue the home team. So then, in turn, the away teams are usually undervalued. So it's things like that. So I've devised these trends that are like league wide. I have like I think 13 in the NFL. In college football, I have 10. Baseball, I have 20. Hockey, I have 11. So I just league wide trends that come. They take care of every team, every conference, every bit of it, and they just take advantage of the undervalued
Yeah.
that are caused by public
Yeah,
perception.
I would
So
say your process is a lot more thorough than mine. Not saying which way is better or whatnot. It's just every single bettor that is out there has their own process. And what a
process.
lot of people don't kind of what a lot of people get all pissy about on Twitter is that, oh, this guy's ice cold right now. I need to find a capper that knows his shit. It's like we
Yeah,
all go through hot and cold streaks, and it doesn't matter if it's a trendsetter or if it's feel better or if you're going over just straight lines. So
yeah, no,
yeah,
entirely.
it's always nice to hear the way a lot of people get to the same bet. You know, like
Right,
the
right.
like the first game here. So we got the Rams and the Colts. We both align on the Rams. I'm sure you have a bunch of trends on it, and I'm sitting there saying, well, the Rams are the better team, and the Colts have a bunch of injuries, and I just think the Rams are. This line is a little bit low, and you'll have all your trends to back it up, something like that. So that's just where I think I
Yeah,
like gambling Twitter is that people can find their true capper of who they like based on how they get to their bets.
No, I agree with you entirely. Honestly, everybody tries to tell everybody that, their way is the right way or something of that nature. Honestly, there's only one way that's the right way, and it's the comfortable way. Whatever makes you comfortable, that's the way you should be betting, regardless of if it's playing dogs, favorites, teasers, parlays, whatever you're comfortable with, that's the way you should be betting. Otherwise, you're going to if you're not comfortable, then you're doing
Right.
it wrong. This is it's nice to be able to make money, but really in many regards, this is something that's worth the
Yeah.
entertainment. And so to keep that comfort there, have it be entertaining, but then also have it be
Right.
profitable. That's the standard you want to
Yeah.
reach. And so whatever allows you to do that, that's what
And
you
what,
should be doing. That's
and,
what you're going
and
to sell at.
and
So
what blows my mind is when everyone's like, "Oh no, you're just taking favorites. You're just taking favorites. You're not very sharp. You're not very sharp." It's like, what do you want me to take? The Houston Texans money line plus 460? What do you want me? You want me? Is that sharp? I always laugh when I see that, and I just kind of wipe it off. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you take some more favorites. They're in a good spot. That's why they're favored, and you got a little bit more information on them, and go and you roll with them. So. But no, let's.
yeah, I mean the
Yeah,
vig is on both sides. That's something people tend to forget, that the vig is on both
yeah,
sides. So even if you're sitting there taking every favorite every game, chances are you're going to lose money. So regardless of if you're finding the value favorites or the value dog, the work is the same. The work is the same because you do have to search for
oh
that
yeah,
value. Again, vig is on both sides. So you can't just stick to one thing. You just can't stick to taking every favorite or stick to taking every dog, because then you will get cost the vig that Vegas charges.
right,
So
no doubt. So we'll just dive right in. So we'll go over Rams Colts right now. We'll go through all the games. So if anybody you dive in has a question, throw it in the chat. You could have a question for Azim or myself. But the line is at -3.5. Colts. So they're home dogs with the money line of plus 165. You can take some alternate spreads, some teasers, and whatnot. I had a couple teasers last week. Probably shouldn't have done that with the Bills, but I ended up doing it. And one thing that you've told me is when you move you move the line, you lose all the value. So yeah, so
right.
just explain that just to the viewers real quick.
Yeah, I mean, especially at these big key numbers like -3.5, -6.5, whenever you buy points or anything of that nature, just the cost of it, because you have to consider, right? At 110, -110, you have to be correct 52.3% of the time. I think at -120, it's 54.6% of the time. And so even if you're 57% better by just buying a 10-cent line, which is not the case usually, it's usually 20
Right.
cents, especially at these key numbers at
Yep.
-3.5, -6.5, whatever. I mean, sorry, -7.5. To buy that extra point you end up going from -110 to -130, which I believe at -130 you have to be correct almost like 56 point something percent of the time. So even if you're like a 57% better, which is usually, I mean, even if you take Billy Walters into account, who's renowned as one of the greatest sports better of all time, he's been on record talking multiple times about how his career hit percentage was 57%. It's not some crazy
Right.
65%
Right.
number. That's why it's so crazy whenever I see on Twitter a lot of people talk about they're hitting 66% for the season. I'm like, yeah, I got, that's very rare to do.
It is
Um,
very very hard.
right. So with the 57%, I mean, by the time you've bought that -130 for the spread, I mean, you're taking away a lot of value. In certain situations, of course, if you're very confident, it could be profitable. But again, if you're very confident, um, then the value should already
Right.
be there. The confidence. So there's no reason ever to buy
Yeah.
points within a betting market for NFL at least. Points give Vegas a lot of money. Now, if we're talking basketball or something else, it's a whole different story. But even then, there's no reason to really buy points in
Yeah.
basketball
Yeah.
with all the points that are constantly being scored, right? Half a point's not going to do
Right.
anything. But yeah,
But no, they make it expensive. I mean, just in case here.
right.
So I mean, the Rams -3.5 at -115, and you scroll down
So
and you
I
got
have
the Rams -3, and it's at -140. So you have to pay an additional whatever amount of money that is, to just lay half a point. So you get a
right.
better number, obviously, than 3.5 because you can win by a field goal and still push.
Did you say it was minus
Yeah,
140?
minus 140, and then it was from minus 3.5.
Minus
Yeah,
3?
115.
You'd have to hit that play 58.33% of the time. For anybody wanting to figure out how to do the calculations on, your VIG, what you're gonna do is take minus 110, for example, and you're gonna divide that 110 by 110 plus 100. So you're gonna divide it by the cost of the play plus 100, right? So if it's 140, what you would do is take 140, divide by 140 plus 100, which is 240. So 140 divided by 240 is
Hey,
58.33%. So if you're going to buy a half point, you literally have to have a trend that says, or not even a trend, a system or whatever. Your intuition should allow you to be at least a 58.33% better, which is never the case. So buying a half point in that regard, never
yeah,
do, never do.
it's juicy for sure. Um, so, like I said before, me and Azim are on the Rams here at minus 3.5. Is that what you got?
I'm gonna wait. I haven't
Haven't
played
played
it
it.
yet because I do want to hope that. I mean, it's moved up from minus one and a
Right.
half to
Yep.
minus 3.5, so it's a little concerning. If I see books, I mean, it's gonna depend, right? I again, I use multiple books, so and I would advise everybody to do the same. So if I see like a couple of those books move to
Right.
-4, then whoever still has that -3.5, I'll go place it. But I'm hoping that before it moves to -4, it drops down to -3, and you could take advantage of that -3. But it did open at -1.5, and usually with these big line movements, there's usually some level of
Right.
regression. So I'm hoping for that -3 before Sunday. If it hits -3, I'm going to take the Rams at -3. But if it doesn't, I'm still going to take the Rams because I have a trend
Oh
and
yeah.
I am very disciplined taking my
Right.
trends. Uh, but yeah, and then I'm just going to hope for a 4-point win.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I just like the Rams matchup wise. The Colts got exposed like last week against Seattle. Uh, Lockett went nuts. Metcalf went nuts, and Chris Carson ran on this team. If you were watching that game, Colts offensively just looked like shit.
we're not
Yeah, they looked
clicking.
like
Yeah.
shit. So, I mean, Wentz wasn't throwing the ball deep. He was just doing dink and dunks with Hines and Taylor, which
Taylor,
are a
yeah.
couple prop plays that are pretty good this week. If you're thinking that they're going to go back to it, those lines are pretty low. I think it was like 2.5 and 3.5, I guess, for Hines. So, the, just from a pure game script, I think the Rams should be closer to that 4.5, 5-ish. I
Yeah.
think if you got to that number, it would just go back to because there'd be so much movement on Colts being at home and favored and all that. So this line, I don't know if it's going to get any steeper, but I could definitely see it going to 3 potentially. I went ahead and just said let's lock in the 3.5, just because I think that the Rams win by a touchdown for here.
Right. FanDuel has already moved it to
It has.
4.
Wow.
Yeah, it has. But I'm not gonna. FanDuel always prematurely moves lines. I'm not gonna trust them. I'm gonna wait for like Bovada or Bet365
Right.
or somebody or even DraftKings to potentially move it. At that point, that's when I'm gonna take a look at it and be like, okay, move to
Yeah.
4. Time to buy the three and
Right.
a half. But oh yeah, you're right. The Rams should definitely be like a -4.5, 5 favorite here. I mean, the Colts again got exposed. Wentz, he's came in. I mean, what can you expect of a quarterback getting adjusted to a new system after being clowned in his own system for so long, or his old system for so long?
And then being hurt
Um,
on top of it.
right, right. I mean, you're gonna see those dump offs. You're gonna see Jonathan Taylor get the ball a lot, Naeem Hines a lot. But is that necessarily gonna, translate to points? I think the Rams will, be able to shut down the little bubble passes and the run game decently enough to where the Colts won't really put up any scores. But the Rams again, Seahawks exposed the Colts. The Rams I expect it to do the same. This could be a blowout.
Yeah.
This could potentially be a
Yeah.
blowout. I mean, it has all the makings for
Yep.
one. So definitely -4.5, 5 is where it should be. But again, I'm just, reaching as much as I can for value. So going to wait to try and find
So
-3 before I play the
a
three and a
good
half.
stat to know, just to close that Rams Colts game. Sean McVay is 8-1 against the spread in weeks 1 and 2 in his NFL career. So absolutely has dominated the early part of the season. So that's another avenue of why pretty much you could take the Rams there.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
nice trend. That's a nice trend.
And then, so go back into the next matchup. So, one of the two double-digit spreads of the week, we got the Texans at the Cleveland Browns. It's went up from 12 already to 13 today. So there has been another
Yeah.
line or another hit on that for sure. I'm staying away from this game. I do see that the Browns should absolutely dominate. If you're in a survivor league, I'm sure that this is probably a very, very, very popular pick this week.
Right.
But you know, 13 points for me is just a little bit too much. The Texans somehow, some way, got to win in Week 1. You know, they played the Jags with the rookie head coach and rookie quarterbacks. So I just think 13 points right now is just too much for a Week 2 spread for me, and I
Right.
don't want to take the Texans on the back end. So I'm completely off this game. Do you got anything on this game, Azim?
Yeah, so I do actually have a few trends with other parameters, and I have like about four separate trends that actually focuses on big favorites. And I'm not going to say how many agree with them, with the Browns, but I will say there's at least one that agrees with the Browns here. Um, Again, the parameter of the number, I'm not necessarily going to release just right away. Um, so this could potentially be a play. It could also potentially not be a play. But I do like these big favorites because, to note, the public also generally tries to stay away from these big
Yep.
favorites. But the way where you come in and you say 13's a lot, let me stay away from 13. But also, you never mentioned taking the Texans. The public generally ends up taking the dog there. So like for you, too many points means stay away from the game
Yep.
altogether. For the public in general, a big spread means take the dog. And that's where the value is caused on the favorites, and we'll see if this value sticks. We'll see if it meets the parameters necessary. I do have something on the Browns, and I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, Texans are coming in with a rookie quarterback, rookie coach. And the Browns, I mean, I had Browns plus 6.5 last week. I was not surprised that they were beating the Chiefs. I know there's a lot of Chiefs fans out there. I'm not a big Chiefs guy, simply because their game is very predictable. And so I had the Browns because, over the years, I've seen the Browns progress, becoming in a more of an NFL shaped
Yeah, they're
team.
good. They're good.
They've been able to make the adjustments. They're going to be able to provide enough opportunities for themselves to be able to score. I do think this is going to be a game where the Texans, they won their first week. Nobody knew what to expect. The Browns are going to be watching film on them coming into this game. They're going to know how to make the adjustments where they need to, prioritize on the defensive end. I don't see the Texans putting up much. However, I see the Browns. I mean, with Nick Chubb and why am I forgetting
Kareem,
his name? I
Kareem Hunt.
literally
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt,
Oh
Nick
yeah.
Chubb, and Kareem Hunt. I mean, the Texans won't be able to stop the run game quite as
Right.
well, with the running back committee, and then they also have pieces to be able to pass to. Um, I do expect the Browns to put up quite a bit. The score projection. One thing I want to mention is score projections, just market projections. Um, Essentially, to do that, you take the total, you divide by two to get the average each team should
Mm-hmm.
score, and then you make sure the spread fits in between that. So 48 divided by 2, 24, and we need a 13 spread. So that would be essentially the score that's being projected is 17 and a half to 30 and a half. Um, a key number at 17 and a half is obviously 17, and a key number at 30 and a half is obviously 30. That provides a 13-point spread right there. So I don't really like this market projection simply because there's not quite enough value right off the bat just from a market projection point of view. If it drops back down to minus 12, it's probably going to be a buy.
Nice, nice. See, yeah, see his process is just a lot more thorough. You know, he's got a lot more numbers to it. I'm looking at matchups, looking at if Tyrod can maybe get away from this front seven of the Browns, and he's doing basic math, so that's good. That's just two different ways to get to that spot and see if you like this particular number because it is all about getting that right number. So that's why we definitely do try to get to those multiple sports books. So let's go into the other matchup there. So this is an interesting game of the week. Bills at Miami Dolphins. So uh, my particular analysis of this is I think the Bills are severely undervalued here at 3.5. I think this is a pretty good value play in my opinion. I have not taken either side yet, but just I know it's at minus 120 for a 3.5 spread, but I think this is a bunch of value from the Bills losing week one to the Steelers, and the Dolphins beating the Patriots. So that's just where I'm at currently in this process. I'm more than likely going to give out the Bills as a free pick on Sunday's morning show. So what do you like on this game, Azim?
So I have nothing on this game from the looks of it, but I entirely agree with you. This is just overcorrecting from week one, and again, it's week
Right.
one. Even earlier, again, I called Tyrod a rookie QB, and in my head, he's actually a rookie QB just simply because he's in a new
Yeah.
system, right?
Yeah.
So with all these new with all these new coaching changes, new personnel changes on each of these teams, it takes time to like get committed to the playbook, get committed to the offense, defense, to be able to become accustomed to how the game is played at on a different team, right, in a different environment altogether. So I mean, there's so much overcorrections that I see personally, not even just in the Bills Dolphins this week, just from week one games. Dolphins had a great game. Was it
Right.
phenomenal? No. Bills again, a decent. I mean, the Bills did
No.
not
No.
play
No.
to their level, but we saw what Josh Allen could do. They've returned a lot of their key players. For more or less, the Bills are just going to bounce back. It was the Steelers. Mike Tomlin knows what to do. He's a great coach in terms of adjustments. I mean, I know a lot of people like to clown on him for you know, for some crazy, stuff
Right.
that he does every now and then that it
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense. But generally speaking, he is a great quote coach who can always find the adjustments, find the holes that he needs to attack, prioritize defensive assignments, things of that nature. So, I mean, this is just an
Right.
overcorrection in all means, in my opinion. Josh Allen's still Josh Allen. The Dolphins are still the Dolphins. Um, I expect this potentially. Again, I don't have a play on it, and because I'm disciplined, like I only take my trends, right? So even intuitively, even if I
Right.
want to take it, I don't take it. Uh, I'll say this: I'm not gonna take it because my trends don't say it. But if I were to take something in here, and confidently, I can say the Bills
Yeah.
should easily win this game,
That's
at
how
least
I
the
feel
first
about
round.
the game. Definitely an overcorrection and a bunch of value in the Bills line.
Yeah.
An interesting stat in these two games last year with the Bills Dolphins, they combined for 141 points in two games. So definitely a game that maybe an overplay could come into play. I right now my analysis and my thought process lands on the Bills minus 3.5. So, but nothing official. Nothing official. Um, let's go to the next
Right.
game. So, next game is a very interesting game here. We got the Bengals and the Bears. So, Bengals traveling to Soldier Field in Chicago. I think the value lies on the Bengals as the road team. As you can see, that I, I don't know how Dalton's going to react to the Chicago fans booing him. I think they're going to boo him like from the start and make sure that Justin Fields is the quarterback. So we'll see. And I think Burrow, what?
Well, he should.
They should
He
boo?
should.
Yeah, I think they should. I think they should.
No,
A
Justin
thousand
Fields should be
percent.
the
I
quarterback.
agree. 1,000%. Justin Fields should be the quarterback. But then the Bengals, I know they opened at +3 and now it's at +2.5. So there's been a couple of hits there. But I like the Bengals simply because that offense is pretty lethal from week one. And there's a lot of question marks with Chase, with Higgins, and with Boyd. But the key to this game right here is Joe Mixon. So I don't know. Everybody's been waiting for Joe Mixon to be the guy, and he absolutely is the guy now. He almost ran the ball 30 times last game. Had about five targets. I just recorded a YouTube video for my DFS and my DFS top plays. That guy's number one. My running back of the week is Bengals.
Right.
Bengals Mixon. He absolutely is. He's at 7,000. So I mean, he's got so much value compared to CMC, who's at like 9,900, and he has the same exact role as CMC. Maybe he's not catching 10 balls, but he's catching 5 or 6.
I hope you're right because I have Mixon on my fantasy team, and I mean I have him, and I have some pretty nasty fantasy teams, but I have him on one of my teams, and he just carried me easily to a win. It was just so
Right.
beautiful just to see him go off. You're right. This game will come
Yeah.
down to Mixon, in my opinion.
Oh,
Um, but I mean, I could. I'm personally. I
Yeah,
kind of like the Bengals in the spot if I
that's how
have
I
to
feel
pick a
too.
side. Uh,
I
what
no,
are
I'm
you
on the
on? Are you
Bengals.
on the Bears or the
I would
Bengals?
take the
What would you?
Bengals. I haven't taken an official play in this game, but if I were to, I like the Bengals. Another one, I just saw that his Joe Mixon's rushing yards is 66 and a half. Uh, the
What's the plus three
plus
on this?
three is talking about like an adjusted game line. It's a minus 135
Yeah,
on DraftKings.
yeah.
Yeah,
Still not worth
it started at that, and then people hit it down to 2.5. But this prop for Mixon
it.
over
Yeah.
66 and a half. If you guys are following me on Twitter, I tweeted out this morning props.cash. If you guys follow them on Twitter, they just got into my free Discord. If you guys want in, you could literally type in Joe Mixon, his over 66 and a half rush yards, and they show you his last 5 or 6 games if they've hit and if they haven't hit. So it's free of charge. The link to Discord is in my link tree on Twitter. Go get in there ASAP, free. Obviously, we just talked DFS, we talked props, we talked betting all day long in there. So go ahead and get in there. But I think this is a no-brainer bet here. Joe Mixon over 66 and a half. I think he had like 140 last week and 29 attempts. He's there's nobody else there. There's nobody else to rush the ball.
Here's my issue with this, and again, this should only be used as a tool. But here's my issue with this. Though, as earlier I was mentioning, market projections, right? So the market projection for this game is 21.5 and 24. So the key numbers in order for anybody viewing, the one that hits the most is 24. Then I believe it goes 21, 27, 20, and then 28. So with those numbers, 24 and 21 are literally the top two numbers. So the market projection being 21.5 to 24 essentially means 21, 24 is where this will finish, um, with the Bears in
Yep.
favored or in favorite. So that would mean the -2.5 would cover. That's the only thing I hate about this. But again, that should only be used as a tool, nothing more than that. It's not a easy way to make money or anything of that nature. It's not going to be accurate every single time because of
Mm-hmm.
course dogs will win outright every now and then. Um, in this position, if this was at three, if the Bengals was at three, intuitively I would want to play that just simply because then the 21-24 would be covered with a push, but then there's also so many chances for the Bengals to win. The Bears just look lackluster to me in many regards, and um, the Bengals, I mean, they're a new team, right? Pretty much new, full personnel, right? Even Mixon is in entirely a new role compared to last year. So in many regards, this is a whole new team, and so I mean, what I
Yeah.
saw from them, I enjoyed a ton, and so I'm excited to see what they're gonna do this game and potentially,
Oh yeah,
win
and
this
I just
game,
wanted to see
hopefully.
on Fantasy Labs what they liked for their player props model that they throw out. Joe Mixon rushing yards. They have it at over 63 and a half on FanDuel. It's over 66 and a half on DraftKings. They're projecting this to be at 73. So this might be a prop that I throw together, maybe for VIP. But I'm talking about it on live on stream, so I might as well
Right.
give it out. But yeah, I'm definitely going to take this one. I think. Just looking at it from a prop perspective, obviously you're not going to throw multiple units on it, but just maybe a one
Right.
unit play here. There's just nobody else to run there, so I love that. I love that play a
Uh,
lot.
yeah. No, I mean, same here. The
Yeah,
Bengals are just a nice team,
yeah. Now they
Well,
are.
now they are.
So another matchup, we got some rookie quarterbacks going up against each other with the Patriots at the Jets. So we got Mac Jones versus Zach Wilson, and we got this is going to be a good one. So we got Patriots as a 6 point favorite on the road. It started at 5.5. I thought this was going to grow maybe to the 7 range. Maybe it gets there by
Yeah.
Sunday, but I just think the Patriots are going to get hammered over the weekend and hopefully get to 6.5 or 7. So my play that I gave out to VIP has some plus CLV. It would be nice, but this is probably my biggest bet of the week. I'm on the Patriots, and I like this spot a lot. What do you think?
So I agree with you, and I'm kind of getting mad at myself now because I've just been scrolling down my line or my action network and everything to check the lines, and I'm realizing I've lost so much value in just like 2 days worth of time. No, actually, not even 2 days worth of time, just from last night, because
Yeah.
that's when I broke it down. So in one night, I've lost so much value. I agree with you. Patriots should be a play. To see them at -6, I think they were at -5 yesterday. I would have loved to take the -5. Same kind of situation where I'm just gonna hope that it comes back to 5.5. But if somebody jumps to six
Yeah.
and a half, I'm biting the six, wherever it's available. Yeah, no, I like the Patriots. I like Bill Belichick. I like Mac Jones. Um, the team overall is just a really good team, in my opinion. I think they just were
Yep.
missing a few key pieces, which they addressed in this year's draft.
Yep.
The Jets are still the Jets. Uh, they're, and I mean, don't get me wrong, the Jets
Yeah.
eventually will turn around, in my opinion, but I think they've had so many years of just, being horrible that it just becomes sort of their MO. And sometimes it's kind of hard to break that kind of streak within organization, within a team. So for administrative purposes, I don't think the Jets will do anything this year um, for the full season. Um, Zach Wilson will get
Yep.
a lot of love, obviously, but let's be real, so did Sam Darnold, and that's really just going to be their, that's really just going to be the look of the team, and that's it. I don't think the Jets are going to be able to be more capable to do anything else other than just be the Jets still this year. And so the Patriots, in my opinion, should easily win this game. A lot of good pieces, winning organization, winning culture, bunch of hard hitting people. I think they're going to be able to come out and really show that they are
Right.
still the
No,
Patriots in many regards.
yeah, I
So
agree with you here. The Patriots defense, I think, is the factor in this game the most. And I do think Mac
right,
Jones is really,
yeah,
really talented, really, really good. Um, and he's more of a, I would say, game manager at this point, but he makes the right decisions. So he keeps the defense fresh, going off the field, long drives, and that defense comes in and it's going to put Zach Wilson on his back a lot. I think I could see a pick six in this game as well. So I think this game gets out of hand. Hopefully, they win by double digits. That's what we're needing, at least a touchdown. But definitely, I can see a double-digit win for the Patriots here.
yeah, easily. I mean, or well, in many regards,
Um,
yeah. I need Nikhil Harry to come back from the Patriots. I mean, I went all in on, or I didn't go all in on him, but I'm in a dynasty league, and 3 years ago I had a horrible team. I got the number 4 pick overall in the draft, and I took
oh
Nikhil Harry
no,
over
oh
DK
no.
Metcalf and AJ Brown.
I don't know why you would say that live on air.
Well, no, at the time, Nikhil Harry was
Yeah.
expected to
Oh
be
yeah.
better than both of them. And every analyst, every report, everything that came out, because I did a ton of research, everything that ever came out for that draft, Nikhil Harry was supposed to be significantly better than
Right.
DK Metcalf and AJ Brown, and
Injuries,
then
and then
injuries
Cam
have
Newton was
just
his
plagued him.
quarterback. Yeah, this is not ideal. Not ideal.
Yeah.
So next matchup we got Saints Panthers. So this is a interesting matchup here. Saints obviously steamrolled the Packers 38-3 in Week 1, and then the Panthers played the Jets, and the Jets almost came back and won that game late. So I'm gonna see both of these teams, I think, play a little worse this game in particular. I think the Saints are not gonna be what they did in Week 1. I think that was more of a fluke game. Winston throwing for 5 touchdowns and not even 200 yards. So an incredibly efficient game.
Right.
Probably the best that the Saints will probably play all season long. Then you got the Panthers, who are,
Uh,
I think they're a little bit better offensively than people are giving them credit for. Sam Darnold can throw the football. He's been in the league several years now, and now he has weapons. He's got one of the greatest weapons in all of football with CMC.
yes.
It's a
Well, that's my
yeah.
concern in this game is CMC. What
Yeah,
are the Saints going to do to
exactly.
stop
Yeah,
him?
I agree. So that's where this matchup is very, very volatile, in my opinion, where I think Blaine Panthers plus 150 money line is not a bad idea. Just, I could see them winning this game outright, just based on regression for the Saints and the Panthers
Right.
being a solid offense. Lattimore is potentially out for the Saints. You got Moore, you got Robbie Anderson, CMC, but can they stop Kamara and Winston? We'll see. I think the value strictly lies on the dog here. What do you think, Ethan?
In my opinion, so first of all, I'm
Oh
a
shit.
Saints fan, and I agree with you that game. Something different. That first week was something different. It was just, I don't know how they pulled that off and like be able to do that
Yeah.
and play as efficiently as they did. I do have certain potential plays on the Saints as of right now. Nothing concrete, but potentially could be. Um, determined by, like, certain line movements and such. But yeah, I mean, as of right now, the only potential side I have on this is the Saints. Nothing on the Panthers. So this is either going to be a stay away from me or the Saints. But I entirely agree with you. First of all, I don't like that -3.5 at all. I think that is probably caused by the
Yeah.
overcorrection from week one. I mean, Jameis Winston is one of those quarterbacks that's going to throw for 5 touchdowns in one week, and then the next week,
Yep.
throw for 5 interceptions. And just because it's a new team, you don't have any reason to not expect that. However, I feel like a lot of people, at least in the media sector for sports, are just believing that
Right.
Jameis Winston has come full circle. And I mean, we have no reason to believe that. We have literally no reason to believe that, except for the fact that he had one good
Yep.
game with a new team. So he could really might as well he could be the same Jameis Winston that we know him to be, and next thing you know, he's throwing 5 interceptions against the
Right.
Panthers because he doesn't
Yep.
have his options, because they play Kamara so well. Because the Panthers do have a good front seven, they might be able to play Kamara well. My concern is, will the Saints be able to play
Hmm.
CMC just as well? And I don't think they will. So I mean, I don't like the -3.5. If I'm taking this at any place, it's gonna have to be at -3, even if that. Again, whatever my trends say, I will be taking. But intuitively speaking, I want to see this come back down to -3. And the VIG right now is -105 towards the -3.5. But it's -115 to the +3.5, so that's a little indication that it might come back down to -3. And at that point, if I'm going to be forced to buy,
Yeah.
that's where I would rather
And
buy.
and kind of where I see the value in the dog here is I don't know why this over under is 44.5. I think that's pretty low. I think this should be in the 48
Yeah,
to maybe even the 50 range. I mean, the Saints just put up 38 points, and I think the Panthers were close to 20 or so. But that total screams regression, in my opinion. That the Vegas like, hey,
yeah.
these guys cannot play that well again. But if you think they can, I think this number is pretty damn low. So I'm either going to have a play on the over or I'm going to have a play on the Panthers. I have not decided yet. I'm going to dive in probably once we get off the stream and see. But that's where my head's going, over or the dog.
Right. So the market projection for this is 20.5 to 24. And so, really the key numbers here, and this is one of those games that's just really annoying because the key numbers here are going to be 24 and 21 or 24 and 20. And in one of those instances, the under and the Panthers hit, or the under and the Saints hit. In the other instance, Panthers and the over hits. This is one of those lines that is just set so. Yeah, I mean, I think it will end up right around that range. I do think there's going to be some regression. I think the Panthers still are going to be able to put up the same 20 points, if not more. But Saints might be able to put up 24, but it's going to end up somewhere in that range. I think these
Yeah,
numbers are just set too well.
it's
That's why I'm going to
it's
need
literally
some late line
it's
movements to
literally
determine where I'm
it's
going.
baiting me to take that damn over.
Yeah.
So we got a couple more to break down. We got Raiders Steelers. So Raiders Steelers, a game, in my opinion, that I think the Steelers should roll. That line movement has been in their favor. It went to -5.5.
Hmm.
I think it started at 4.5 or 5, and then it went to 5.5, and now it's at 6.5. So it has steamed all the way up for the Steelers. Josh Jacobs was just ruled out today, and there's a bunch of defensive guys that got hurt on Monday Night Football that are out. I think McCoy's out, and then one offensive lineman. So Steelers come in fully healthy, 1 day extra rest. I think this line gets to 7 by Sunday, and then Azim is going to tell you to take the Raiders.
Well, probably, yeah. For me, like, here's the thing. um, Not right now. Don't take the Raiders just yet. Just simply because with Josh Jacobs being rolled out, I think there's going to be an overreaction to the market to Josh Jacobs being rolled out. On top of that, like you said, Raiders are super injured, this, that, and that's all being considered, right? Even with the fact that they have less rest because they play on Monday. And so all these things are considered within the line. And I think there's just going to be a simple overreaction towards the Raiders. So if I'm taking a side on this, I take the Steelers week one. I believe in the Steelers' ability. I believe that they can score quite a bit of points. Um, And if anything, if there's one thing I like in this game, if I have to look at something, it's probably going to be the over because I expect the Raiders to be the Steelers to be able to score quite a bit. Potentially the Raiders also because Darren Waller did not look nearly the way he did, but are the Steelers going to be able to play Darren Waller the same way? That's always a concern. The second thing is a lot of receivers for the Raiders were looking just really good. Renfro, Zay Jones came out with a huge win the past week, and I don't know if any of y'all caught the little post game conference press conference or just the post game interview. Uh, Derek Carr was asked about Zay Jones, and Derek Carr had a lot of nice
Hmm.
things to say about Zay Jones. So all in all, like that chemistry is there with Zay Jones. He talked about how he was the hardest working individual he's ever met. So I mean, just that chemistry there, that respect there is there. So you could expect Zay Jones to be involved a little bit more, Renfro to be involved a little bit more, which might open up passing routes for Waller and such. So I think the correction in this game that I believe is going to happen is it's gonna push it up to plus 7.5, 8, maybe even if it can get there, potentially even in the nines. It seems like a huge correction, but with Josh Jacobs, your best, your running back out, that's going to be problematic. Obviously, they're going to correct to some degree. In that point, I do think the Raiders have the options to keep it close, and I also believe that they have the options to put up points. Likewise, I feel that the Steelers have the options and the weapons to be able to put up points just as much. So if there's something I'm looking at here, it's
Yeah.
going to be potentially the over. Uh, but again, the Raiders on the plus points, however much it corrects to, that might be a key look to, depending on how much it corrects to, where the line ends. Is it near a key number? Things of
I can
that
agree with that
nature.
overstatement. I mean, it just depends on if the Raiders can score. I think the Steelers are going to be able to score, and if the Raiders can move the ball
Mhm.
against that Steelers defense, which the Bills could not, that's where that's where that
Right.
I think that number pretty good, 47. Um, so the next game we got the 49ers at the Eagles. That over under set at 49, and with the 49ers -3. I don't have anything on this game currently. I think this is a stay away game for me. I can't tell between these two teams just yet of who they are. Um, the Eagles
Right.
throttled the Falcons. Falcons aren't supposed to be much. The 49ers were throttling the Lions and then almost gave up the entire big ass lead. And they just lost Mostert, and they don't know if Sermon's going to play. We don't know if Ayuk is going to play. Apparently, Ayuk and Sermon are better in practice this week. Who knows what the 49ers did? Uh, my head says to
Right.
maybe just take the points with the Eagles, but right now I'm staying completely away from this game. What do you got in this game, Azim?
So for me, the Eagles looked as good as they did because the
Yeah,
Falcons don't have a defense. Um, and honestly, I mean, it's the same story with every NFC East team. I'm a Dallas native. I keep up with these East teams quite a bit. It's the same story. The second they play a defense or have any ounce of pushback on the defensive end, they're not going to be able to perform. They are lackluster. They fall flat on their faces. I don't expect anything else to be different in this game. If I have to take a side, I'm going to take the 49ers here. But you're right. There's a lot of key ingredients gone for the 49ers. A lot of key ingredients missing. Um, don't know how they'll be able to cook up much, but maybe I mean, if I have to believe one team is going to perform, I think it's going to be the 49ers. I just don't see the Eagles being able to handle the 49ers defense. I see a lot of choke jobs, a lot of mistakes being made, a lot of just rookie mistakes, right? Elementary. The Eagles and every other NFC East team are known for those elementary mistakes. So I don't think anything's going to be different. But the 49ers, again, missing so many pieces that it's so hard to say, hey, the 49ers should cover here because you really don't know. I would just kind of wait it out, try to look at injury reports. If Ayuk does end up playing, Sermon does end up playing, which I hope he does because I picked him up on the waivers. Or no, I drafted
there
him.
you go.
And
Yeah.
so, I mean, yeah,
Are,
I
are, are you
want
telling
Sermon
me
to
that the
play.
NFC East is
uh,
not a very good division? Did you not watch Thursday Night Football last night? That game was thrilling. That was what the NFL
I
wants.
was one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I have high hopes for the Cowboys this year. I even
Yeah.
tweeted that out. I tweeted that out. And I'm not a big Cowboys fan. I used to be one of the biggest Cowboys fans. You would have known, but eventually I had to give up on them because Jerry Jones
Did you
kept pissing me off. It all started when they drafted Zeke over Jalen Ramsey, and that threw me
we,
overboard. And every Cowboy fan agreed
yeah.
with it, and I was just mad. I was just
Wheezy
absolutely
Core,
mad.
who is in our chat currently, he is a Cowboys fan. He absolutely he didn't like what you said about the NFC East, but then he said that's what I thought after you said you're a Cowboys fan. And
I used to be, and then Jerry Jones. I mean, Wheezy Core. Come on now, you gotta admit we gotta move on from
oh no, he
Jerry. We
loves him.
have to
He
move on
loves
from
him.
Jerry.
Did you see? Oh, did you?
He
No,
loves
I don't know
Jerry
if he loves
Jones.
Jerry, but I know he loves the Cowboys. Yeah.
I love
Did
the
you see Jerry
Cowboys, and
Jones'
that's
quote
fine.
yesterday or was it
That's
today?
fine.
Where he said like, "I enjoy pain. I love it. I want it all in me." I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? I loved it.
Yeah, he's getting to me now, man.
This is,
Okay, there you go. And so
yeah,
that's
he's a
why I
Jerry
stopped
who's
being a
more.
fan for them. Because you have to understand, when I first started watching football, I was actually a Saints fan. And then living in Dallas and everything, I ended up supporting the Cowboys. And then once I became as, as intuitive and understanding of the sports that I watch and play and everything of that nature, I started hating Jerry because it just didn't make sense. Anything he
And
did
then,
never made sense to me. I mean, they gave Jason Garrett
oh, so
so
much.
much time
I
for
don't know
no
how
reason
Jason Garrett has a
whatsoever.
job, but Law Good Boy says Niners lock city. So he's on the Niners with you. He's thinking that's the same way. I mean,
Yeah,
more and more you think about the NFC East, but I don't know. I just there's something about Jalen Hurts that just excites me.
the Cowboys have to win the NFC this year. If they don't win the NFC East, they're the best team by a
Who
mile
the
in the
Cowboys?
NFC East.
Yeah.
Yes,
After the
by a
first
mile.
week and a
Yeah.
half, I would agree with that. I was high on the football team.
If you look at individual talent, they're. I mean, compare them to some of the more contending teams. The basic teams that we think are contenders, like the Chiefs, the Buccaneers. They have just as much talent on their team. It's
Yep.
just really a matter of coaching, and the
Right.
coaching will be able to allow them to, achieve their full potential. But I personally think the Cowboys have been a contender every year, even last year till Dak, unfortunately, went down, and the year before that, I thought they were a contender. Didn't support them,
Yeah.
but still thought they were a contender. Nothing changed for me this year. Does the coaching staff allow
True.
them to reach their true potential? And that's always been the case with Dallas. For about like 2 decades now, the coaching has always stopped the
Right.
talent from reaching its
And then
potential.
Wheezy says I was named after Troy Aikman, so I'm kind of a big deal. Good for you, Wheezy. That a boy. So we'll dive into the next game. We got Broncos at Jags, and also if anybody's got any questions over any of these games, we've already recapped or gone over, throw it in the chat. Let us know what you guys are thinking. We'd love to hear from you guys. For this game, Broncos Jaguars. I don't have anything official yet. I'm highly considering the Denver Broncos, even though they lost Jerry Jeudy. I think this offense and their defense is pretty damn good as well. But I think Teddy Bridgewater is the
Right.
best quarterback this team could have dreamed for. He's not going to turn the ball over. He is a sound quarterback. Just needed a chance to prove himself, and I think he's going to have a fine year in Denver. And the Jags, +6 dog. You got Lawrence, who's just learning the ropes here, and you got Urban Meyer, who I think is the most overrated coach in America. I do not like the fact that he made the jump to NFL as well. I think he's going to get his ass handed to him. How do you feel about this game?
I'm mad. What did you get
Uh,
this line at?
I haven't got it anywhere yet. I'm waiting for it to maybe
Oh,
go down, but I doubt it will. But it's at 6 right now on DK.
yeah. I do have a play on the Broncos, and I'm realizing it opened at -2.5, and it's jumped up to -6. So I'm
It would
super
start at
annoyed
two and
now.
a half. Holy shit!
Um, yeah, that's what Action Network is reporting. That's what's crazy. But no, crazy fact. Teddy Bridgewater's covered like
Yep.
71% of the games he's played. Uh,
Yep.
he's just a cover god. And I'm gonna stick with him. Um, I like the Broncos here. I think they're a really good team. I agree with everything that you just said. Bridgewater, this is probably the best team he's ever played with, aside from the Saints. Um, he has a lot of options, a lot of weapons. He's going to make the most of it. The Jaguars, they're again a very um,
Yep.
new team, right? Like, I mean, they just got Trevor Lawrence. They just got a bunch of their weapons. I mean, it's going to take time for them to sort of integrate within each other and within the culture, and really
Yep.
develop a culture. First of all, because the Jaguars don't quite really have a culture of anything. I mean, when you think of the Jaguars, you don't really expect them to be a crap team, but not a good team. They're just kind of middle of the pack always. You don't think much of them. They don't have a culture. They don't have a brand. They have nothing of the sorts, and it's because that's what they have been, right? And so it's going to take time for the Jaguars to integrate, as you know, and I don't think this is week 2 is anywhere close to how long it takes. So I think the Broncos easily should steamroll this again. Same thing with Bridgewater, as you mentioned, a lot of weapons, great quarterback before he ever got injured, and he's been rehabbing for quite some time now. Has had the opportunity to back up players, still stay in the game, still have his mentals correct. I think he's going to be a phenomenal quarterback this year. It's going to be a great thing to see. And
Yeah.
personally, I'm a huge fan of Bridgewater, just because who can't be a fan of a guy who
Yep.
has had so much travesty and still puts his head down and just works through everything. That's why
Yep.
everybody
Yep.
loves Alex Smith.
Resilient,
You
for
know,
sure.
it's more or
Yeah,
less,
and then you
yeah.
got Javonte Williams and you got Melvin Gordon in the backfield. They got every skill position covered, and their defense is elite. So I could definitely see them winning by double digits
Right.
here. I don't care if it's on the road in Jacksonville. I like the Broncos a lot. Wheezy has a question. He says, "Do I start James Robinson against this Broncos defense?" What do you think, Azim?
It's a great question.
Yeah, let us.
Who
Yeah,
are your
who are
other
your other
options?
running backs,
Because it
Wheezy?
depends on who.
Let us know all that. We'll dissect the other game. So the next game we got. So we'll go to the afternoon game. So there's 4 of them here. Vikings Cardinals. I absolutely love watching Kyler Murray. This is a game that I'm stacking in my DFS lineups for DraftKings. If you watch, I just recorded a video, so it's going to be it'll be out tonight for how you can kind of differentiate yourself when you're game stacking this game. But Cardinals and Vikings, I kind of like the over here or just the home at -4. What do you got, Azim?
You said home -4. Yeah, I would lean with the Cardinals here. I have a love-hate relationship with Kyler Murray. Uh, like literally, uh, my high school's rival was Allen. I mean, we beat like literally
Mm.
the number 1 team in the nation in high school, and I mean we were a nasty team. We were expected to win state championship, and then Kyler Murray happened for 3 years in a row. And then I go to UT, and he decides to go to OU, and upset me there too. Wins the Big 12 championship. I love Kyler because he's so freaking talented, and I hate him for all the pain he's
Right,
caused
right.
me. But yeah, I mean, Tyler's going to kill it. He's going to continue to kill it. He has more
Yep.
pieces now. They're more integrated. They're developing there's so many options. I mean, even within, if you look at how they played this past week, and maybe it could have been
Mhm.
just a fluke this past week, or if and you compare it to last season, you notice that um, they've added a lot to their playbook. They're not sitting and you know they're not as predictable. I
Yeah.
think that's the big key word here is they're not as predictable. They're bringing out different schemes, different play styles, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching that game. And I think that's one of the main reasons they had so much success in week 1. If that wasn't a fluke, the Cardinals will win this game
Yep.
by 2 or 3 touchdowns. If that was a fluke, then I still expect them to win. I don't think the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings have Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, but the question is, can they
Right.
be
It
used
can
correctly?
Dalvin make extended drives? I think if Dalvin gets extended drives and they can control the clock, then I can see the Vikings having a chance in this game. But if they play at the Cardinals' pace, they are going to get blown out of the gym or out of the field. But Weezy
Right.
says so he needs to start Robinson, or he wants to see if he can start Robinson. He's got it's for his flex position over Landry or Robbie Anderson. His 2 running backs are Zeke and Gibson, so he's not going to change that. So it's basically Robinson, Landry, or Anderson in his flex. I mean, a more competitive game is probably Anderson. The blowout potential game is Landry, so he might not get many receiving yards. But then you got James Robinson, who's a 6-point dog, who maybe get more receptions this week because of it. I'd probably land on Robinson, the safer floor, I think.
Yeah, yeah. If it's you said
It's
Robinson
Robinson,
or Anderson?
Anderson, or Landry. In this,
Go ahead.
I
Who
said
did you say?
Robinson, just a safer floor.
Okay, sorry. It's
He,
PPR. I'd go Anderson. If it's half PPR, raises a lot of
Yep.
questions. Standard
Good.
Robinson.
Pretty good. Uh,
Standard, I would not know where to go. Standard, I would probably I would lean with Dot on. I mean, sorry,
yep.
half PPR. I would lean with Dot and go Robinson.
So
Full
full
PPR, go
PPR
Robbie
Anderson.
Anderson.
Full
In
PPR, he
my,
says Anderson. Uh, yeah. I mean,
in my
he can get catches, but I mean Robinson could get catches at plus, being a +6 dog, it could be in. Don't think Carlos Hyde's going to get any catches, so could definitely see that. Um, Next game we got Falcons and the Bucks. This is another double-digit spread, probably another very very popular survivor pick with the Bucks. I'm off of it just like I was the Browns, and you're going to tell me why I should take the Bucks for value. But I don't know. I'm staying away.
See, this is one of those games where I was mentioning earlier about those big favorites having reverse value. However, it's the Buccaneers. They are
Yeah.
literally the hottest team in the NFL. So I don't quite know if they'll have any reverse value, just given the fact that they're the Buccaneers. That being said, they are always overvalued. They always are, getting all the bets from the public and everything because it's the
Right.
Buccaneers, right? It's Tom Brady, and so as far as the reverse value goes
Yeah.
here, I don't know if the Bucks have any. Um, so for me, this is more of a stay away game. Potentially looking at playing something on the total. Do I have anything on the
51's a
total?
lot.
I don't
Yeah.
have anything on the total either. I mean, and honestly, this is one of those
Mm,
stay away games entirely. Eventually, though, I do have trends on both the Bucks and the Falcons, and so this is more of a
yep.
wait and watch kind of thing for me. Depends on which trends drop out because of last minute line movements or whatever the case may be, last minute news coming in. I'm certain that some of these trends are going to drop out of the water, and so then I'll be playing one of these sides. But this isn't one of those that immediately has reverse value
Right.
on it because it's the Buccaneers. As far as the total goes, though, um,
Yeah.
really, what are the
They
Falcons
put
going
up
to do,
6 points
right?
against the Eagles. I mean, they just look
Right.
so bad at home. It was just not ideal. Yeah, not
That's the
ideal.
main concern. Bucks will, if the Eagles tore up the Falcons' defense, what will the Bucks do, right? The Buccaneers will
Exactly.
kill them. But then the question remains is, I mean, the Buccaneers have a really good defense too, but are they going to be a little bit more, like are they going to be sort of lackluster because this game isn't really that important because it's the Falcons and they know they could easily beat them? So are they going to be overconfident and then allow a few 50-yard touchdowns to Calvin Ridley? Like who knows, right? So like I mean this is one of those games that is
Oh
super
yeah.
unpredictable as of right now.
No,
In
I
my
agree with that for sure. Weezy says CMC gets 90 touches though. That's where his only consideration with Robbie Anderson. And Robbie caught the deep ball last game, but I mean I like I'm gonna go with Robinson. I'm a running back whore when it comes to fantasy. So
I'm the opposite. I love my wide receiver. I did try out a
yeah.
new
What was
strategy this
that?
year though. I definitely
Yeah.
running backs first. No, my usually in the past my first two
Really?
rounds are always receivers. And then this year I decided to switch it up and go running back. And the first
See,
game I already put up the most points with the league. So maybe I need to be
running
more
backs
running back
are
oriented
gold,
in the future.
gold nowadays. But no, we got Cowboys Chargers. So this is probably the game of the week. Probably a lot of people are going to be playing this game. But a lot of action probably on both sides. The over under is at 55 right now, which is the highest total of the week. I think it was at 55 and a half before, so it came down a bunch, or it came down a half a unit. But uh, side that I like right now is the Cowboys plus the points, just because of the way they looked against the Buccaneers. And I know a lot of people were giving Cowboys or the Prescott, flack for throwing the ball 58 times or whatnot. Moore came out and he said that he audibled out of a lot of running plays. So maybe this total is set a little bit too high. Maybe, and then the Chargers weren't that
Mhm.
efficient on the offense, but they were playing the football team's defense, who's supposed to be fairly good. But this is a game. Also, I'm stacking on DFS, so just plain and simple with the over under being a 55. It's a very very nice game to game stack. But probably where I would lean right now is Cowboys plus 3.5. What about you?
Yeah, if I'm leaning somewhere as the Cowboys plus 3.5, would hate it, not hate it, but if you're gonna play this game and you're gonna play the Cowboys, play it right now. There's already indications that it's going to move down to +3, and then you're just losing
Yep.
value there. So might as well play it right now at the 3.5. I personally like the over. Usually the highest over and the lowest under usually hit. Um, that's just
Hmm.
like a weird stat. Um, but I mean that even in this case though, Dak had no reason to audible out of those runs, but he chose to do so. And there's 100% reasoning as to why he did that because you have Amari Cooper, CD Lamb, like you're
Right.
gonna go and use those guys. You have Michael Gallup, like you're gonna use your receivers, especially when you have probably the best receiving core in the NFL,
Yeah.
or one of the best, if not the best. In my opinion, it's um, so I mean, when you have that, why would you run the ball with somebody who's been really lackluster, not just this past week, but even the past season. And yes, past season again, offensive line injuries, different quarterback. Um, Run game was the main thing. Everybody kind of knew it. They were very predictable last year. Yes, you can
Yep.
make all those arguments for Zeke, but in my opinion, Zeke is just not Zeke anymore. It's been too many years. He's had his time. I think he's out of his prime. I think he's a good back. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's Zeke though. There's no feed Zeke going on anymore. I think this is going to be a position where they're going to be passing it just as much. Um, the NFL's changed,
Completely.
and it's become more of a passing dominant league. It's not one of those run heavy leagues anymore. In my opinion, those passes are still going to go through, and Dak looked so good last week. Just he was connecting on so many of his passes. Of course, there was a few drops here and there, and more of them were because of the receiver's faults rather than Dak's. Very few overthrows, very few behind the back pass or
Yeah.
behind the receiver passes. In my opinion, I think Dak kills it, goes off, and personally
We,
win by quite a bit. So if I'm taking something,
yeah.
it's going to be the +3.5
Wheezy, we're
over
taking
in
the
this game.
Cowboys. He says, "Wow, turning the stream off because you were talking bad on Zeke. Zeke's like his hero, so it's
Uh,
all good. No, he's fine. I agree with that. Yeah,
Cowboys
he says
could win
yeah.
by
He just like
21.
Cowboys won by 21. I mean, over under indicates a high scoring game. You got the Chargers coming back with Herbert, Allen, and Eckler and Mikey Williams. So it could be a lot of points scored. So Titans,
Yeah.
Seahawks. This is probably where you're gonna get a buttload of value on this line, and I'll say it right here right now. I'm gonna have this as another VIP play. This is I just thinking about this game throughout this entire stream and waiting to get to this game. But the Titans, I mean, I just don't. Why is it +6.5? The Titans were like, this is such an overcorrection from week one. Like, they're going to be fine, guys. They're going to be fine. So I'm hammering this +6.5. The Seahawks they're good, but just there's so much value right now on +6.5 Titans. If you can even buy +7 if you want to.
Right.
And I know Azim's going to tell me not to do it, but screw it, I might. But no, the Titans just scream to me.
No, yeah, I'm a stay away on this game entirely. Um, Seahawks look really good. But I agree with you. There's overcorrection, but my concern is again we haven't seen the Seahawks look this good in a while. But again, more pieces added. Week one still. This could
Yeah,
be the new Seahawks. This literally could be the new Seahawks, and we wouldn't realize it. And if that's the case, then this is an easy Seahawks win, in my opinion. Could potentially be by double digits, but
right.
I mean, what are the chances, right? And then even
Mm-hmm.
Rashad Penny out, whatever. So for me personally, this is a stay away game, but there is
Yeah,
arguments to be made on both sides. And personally, if you're going to use uh, recency bias, then in both regards, Titans should be the play simply because I mean the Titans did not look all that horrible, and they'll be fine with Derrick Henry. Um, the Seahawks, if we want to take it back to last season, they weren't what they were supposed to be. Maybe this year is
yep,
what they were meant to be, but regardless, I'm not going to play this game. But if there's a look somewhere here,
yeah.
I would
I
rather take the
I I
Titans.
I land on the Titans, and there is another stat where Tannehill I think is like 22-4 in the over games that he's played in the NFL in his last 26 games. So the over screams at me. Only way I think the over doesn't hit is if they control the game with Henry a little bit more. but the Titans plus 6.5 is where I'm going in this game. Weezy says Tennessee will win. Money line, you heard it here first. And then King Henry is going to slap with his third leg. Attaboy. So then the Sunday night game, we'll just where's that at? So we'll go over to Chiefs Ravens Lions Packers game. I'm not going to say much about that. I think we'll be fine thinking a double-digit spread there. But the Chiefs Ravens game, Sunday night game, going to be the game of the week in my opinion. And I'm heavily on the Chiefs. What about you?
Neither.
There we go.
I'm on neither.
Neither. He's on neither.
Wow. I thought I would be on something over here. Let me make sure.
I think the Chiefs lines. I just think it's incredibly too low. You got the Raiders just plugged 30-something points on this Ravens defense. Guys are scuffling. I think they lost a couple more key components on either on the defensive side or offensive side of the football. I think the offensive line is out, but I think the Chiefs can get it done. Chiefs can get it done by.
Yeah, intuitively speaking, the Chiefs should be able to win this game. Lamar Jackson, of course, he had the 2 fumbles. He was not. It was less about the fumbles. It was more about his comfort levels in the pocket. He just didn't look comfortable.
Yeah, I thought he was forcing it. Like so, the whole off season, he's like, I'm going to be a pocket quarterback. Going to be a pocket quarterback. So then he tries to be it, but at the same time, like, hey man, do what you do and run the damn ball. And maybe he does it in week 2, but the week 1, I think he was just timid in the first half, and he should have just started running. He could have had 150, almost 200 yards in the rushing if he just took off and went. So we'll see if he does it against the Chiefs defense that got exposed against the Browns. So that is a concern here. I just don't think there's a stop for Kelsey or Hill or Hardman or Robinson in this secondary. Waller had 21 targets. Week 1, who's to say how many Kelsey's going to have? So I think this is a no-brainer bet like with the Chiefs, but we'll see what happens.
My concern is it opened at -1.
Yeah.
And it's moved up to -3.5. But my concern sitting here is why, right? Because it feels so trappy. It just feels like it's a trap line. I don't know why I feel that way. I'm kind of glad I have nothing on this game.
Until Sunday rolls around when you're plus 20 units and you're like, yeah, I can throw a couple units on Sunday Night Football. But no, yeah, I like the Chiefs here. Weezy says Lamar, the big trust is trash. Guy can't throw a ball and he's the QB. The man can't throw a fucking ball. He's fine. He's Lamar Jackson.
He's a running back.
So that was a deep dive into.
Let's go to Lions Packers because I do have.
You do have a play there? Oh, let's go there real quick.
That was the 3 that I was going to give off.
Oh, there we go. Let's do it, and then we will go into Would You Rather. So we'll wrap it up in like 10 minutes. We'll do a Would You Rather, a little fun segment at the end, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, Packers Lions. You got something on this game?
Yeah. First of all, it being at -11.5, even with the Packers playing as lackluster as they did, and all the speculation about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's a great story, right? Aaron Rodgers being a villain and purposely throwing that game to get back at the Packers organization. What a great story.
How outrageous is that?
But even with all those rumors, and with the Packers playing as horrible as they did, being a -11.5, there's something about that I really like, that I might want to take, but then I also have trends on the Lions as well. So in this game, however, what we're going to be looking at is the over. And in my position, I will be taking the over for 3 units. It is at 48.5. I'm going to hope that it cools down to 48 before I play the over. It will be a 3-unit play.
Heyo. Yeah, you're good.
Is that your side?
No, you're cut out just a little bit.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah, but for me, it's a 48.5. I'm going to wait for it to get down to 48 before or hopefully get down to 48. It's looking like it will. So when it does do that, I'm going to play it for 3 units. But yeah, that's my play in this game. The Lions, they stormed back last week. They definitely have the pieces to be able to put up a few points. And the Packers, I think, will respond much better that they did for the Saints. Let me get you a market projection.
Yeah, let's say I might tail this play, but I won't. I won't release it until later on. But I might tail it. I like it.
So the projection right now is 30 to 18.5. At 18.5, I'm looking at either 17 or 20, and 20 happens a lot more than 17. At 30, I'm looking at 30. So, 30 and 20, it looks like 50. If it hits 17, then that's a, 47 point, game. So if it drops down to 47, or if I have any expectations that will drop down to 47 somehow,
Huh.
then that's where I'd definitely love to buy it. But, I expect this to be a 30-20 game, or the market expects this to be a 30-20 game. So, at that point, the concern then remains with the minus 11 and a half. Again, don't know which side I'm taking on the Lions or the Packers, but as far as the over goes, I love the over here.
Wow, there we go. You heard it here. Nice little,
And that's
big three in a play. So that wraps it up with the deep dive into week 2, and we'll just do a quick little fun game that I threw at Azim right before he got on.
I don't know the questions. I told him specifically not to tell me the questions.
Yeah, so he's got no idea. So he has no idea. So this is would you rather. Anybody wants to let us know would you rather do as well. So here's the first one. So would you rather
y'all
would you rather wear same socks for a month or the same underwear for a week?
Underwear.
Underwear for a week.
Yeah.
See, I would do socks for a month. I would just say screw it.
Nah.
Wheezy says underwear for a week. You guys are nasty.
Well, you could turn them inside out.
There you go. So the next one. So you'd have to listen to only 10 songs the rest of your life, or watch the same 5 movies the rest of your life.
I'm not a big movie person. I mean, I'm decently a big movie person, but like I have my series that I like to watch. I'd rather take the movies.
I would do the songs. I think I could do the songs. Just get them stuck in your head and you'll be fine. Whatever. I'd rather. I'm not a big movie guy either. I can watch movies, but I would do the songs.
Yeah, for me, I listen to music all day, but I don't watch movies every day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's kind of my thought process, and I listen to like every kind of songs, like all kind of genres.
Weezy says he wears underwear for a week all the time. And then he's got 10 songs. He'll agree with the songs, and says all new stuff is trash. Then we got, would you rather be completely invisible for a day or able to fly for a day?
Fly, easily.
1000% fly. If you can fly for a day, you can go see everything that you need to.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, invisible, nah. I think if it was for like life, I would probably do invisible because that'd be cool. But then you're just Mr.
Can you turn off the invisibility? Like, can you like go invisible and then not be invisible?
Not for that day, but maybe in life, yeah. But no, I would 100% do fly, 100% here.
Yeah, I would not like invisible for a day.
Nah.
Nobody would be able to see me. I feel like it'd be more stressful.
Yeah. And then would you rather have the edge of almost sneezing for the rest of your life, or an itch that you can't get rid of for the rest of your life? I already know which one I'm going to do. I already knew
it. Itch. I'm going to go itch.
Yep, that's what I would do. Because if you're almost sneezing, how the hell are you going to talk? How are you going to communicate with anybody? Like, you're just going to be like,
You literally look like that the whole rest of you.
Yeah, no way. I mean, it's going to suck, and you're going to be that guy who's itching everywhere, but you know what? I'll be all right with it.
No, you just get like ice wrap or something and just like wrap it up and you won't feel it.
And then the last one. So would you rather have your whole phone roll go public, or your browser history go public?
Camera phone roll.
Yep, that's what mine would be.
Yeah, I got some fire memes.
Yeah, and I don't want to know how stupid people would think I am with my browser history. Like how to do this, how to do something incredibly simple that probably everybody in the freaking world knows how to do, but then I have to Google how to do it. So yeah, I'm 100% the camera roll.
Okay, you can delete the browser history and then have it go public.
There you go. Exactly.
If I can do that, it's a loophole.
I think that was the last one. Yep, that was the last one. So that was a nice little fun game at the end, just to.
Weezy went with camera and sneeze. Weezy went with sneeze.
Wheezy went with a sneeze. He says it doesn't say forever. I made it forever, Wheezy. So shut the hell up. These questions are horseshit. And he says he would go with camera. So.
All right, Weezy, you asked.
Yeah, yeah. Give us one if you can think one off the top of your head. Wow, unsub. Oh man. Yeah, Wheezy, throw one at us if you can think of one. If not, we'll get up on out of here. And everybody who's watching the stream back, let us know if you have a would you rather. DM me or Azim. Wheezy, would you rather? He's gonna say something stupid right here. I didn't know it.
It's gonna be about Cowboys too, probably. Just watch.
I was gonna do one about like some betting and stuff, but I said screw it. Let's go completely off betting since we were talking about it the entire time.
Yeah, right. No, that was fun. That was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I don't think he's gonna send anything.
Yeah.
I think he's just trolling us. I think he just said would you rather, so we wait.
Yeah. All right, Weezy. We're gonna get up on out here. Appreciate you tuning in the stream. Appreciate Azim taking the time out of his day to shed some knowledge. Oh, he did say something. Drink spoiled milk.
An entire half-gallon spoiled milk.
Drink spoiled milk or an entire half gallon. Entire half gallon. Well,
no.
Okay.
Drink a half-gallon of spoiled milk.
Or lick Betty White's grundle. Jesus. I'm gonna say the lick the grundle.
Yeah, it's only one lick.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer. No-brainer there.
Cut my tongue off afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. I drink spoiled milk. I'm gonna be throwing up for a while after that. No way.
Yeah.
He said savages. All right, we're gonna get up out of here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you, Azim. We'll get after it this week for week 2.
For sure.
See you guys.